SoFi will be offering the Instacart IPO. That's huge.
This is not huge. This is nothing burger. First of all, anyone who buys this IPO is a fucking idiot. So SoFi, so look at all the people bag holding SoFi. Guess what you did? You bought the fucking IPO.
Like, do you just say shit to just piss people off? Like,
yes, he does.
Probably ARM and Instacart will be the biggest IPOs of the year. Just by having exclusivity into that, SoFi will benefit.
I don't think it's a good thing for SoFi to do this for average retail investors that are not smart enough to understand this is a pump and dump by Y Combinator.
Put Throwable's comment up there, please, please, please. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
What's SoFi's mantra? Get your money right.
Robinhood give you the freedom to do what you want.
They make money on transactions just like Robinhood. They're not your fucking mom. They're not.
But it's a brand more than a business, Tevis. It's a brand.
Are you blaming Goldman Sachs for taking, I don't know, like you're not blaming the banks that took them public. We've been doing this show for 46 episodes, and this is by far the stupidest take you've had.
I don't think this is a stupid take. All right, let's see what happens when Instacart dumps on retail, and then Josh says he's buying
Storm says I'm buying Instacart.
There you go.
Josh is trolling because he buys good companies. I know Josh.
You know, Josh, maybe you should reach out to Amit to be your financial advisor because he doesn't think it's.
I would tell you to not buy Instacart, and I think I would save you some fucking money not buying Instacart.
He'd be telling you buy Palantir all the way down.
Like, I don't know what people are doing if they're not on SoFi Weekly.
Yeah, Amit doesn't even have to be doing the SoFi Weekly to reject all these things anyway. So
they just
that was mean for no reason.
This is Dan Dolev. He is one of the analysts for a lot of fintech companies. He was ranking all of his top companies he does coverage on. We'll go over the full list later on, but just to see here, at number 1, he has Affirm. Number 2 is Robinhood. There you go, Amit. Number 3 is SoFi Technologies. And this is what he had to say.
I would say SoFi is one of the most disappointing, I know it was a SPAC, but we'll call it an IPO of the post-COVID era, just because of how great the reputation was and the brand. The stock just has not matched the expectations, probably more than any other stock that's up here. What's going to turn that around?
Student loan refinancing.
Okay.
So I've actually done work. I've done a deep dive. There's $16 trillion of student loan refinancing.
But there's not $16 trillion. There's $1.6 trillion. Just a little misstep there. So there's not $16 trillion.
Financing that are up for grabs. SoFi could address about 25% of that. And that's a huge number, right? So you're talking about, hundreds of billions of
What's your target, SoFi?
$20.
Not end of year, just ultimate target.
Ultimate target.
Okay, 20. So, you think it could be worth 20?
But here's been my question about SoFi, which is it's essentially a bank, right? I know they have technology sales as well.
Anyway, it pretty much ends there. He doesn't really say anything. They kind of just cut him off and continue to go on about the other positions. What does he mean, by the way? His ultimate price target for SoFi, not end of year, but ultimate price target is $20 a share.
It could have meant next year. You can't really speculate on that.
Maybe this just shows how mainstream media is not as excited about the stock as we are, which is good because it didn't seem like he was overly bullish. Putting Robinhood ahead of SoFi means the guy has no fucking clue what he's talking about, to be honest. And I love Robinhood, but that was weird. I get it from the valuation. Maybe Robinhood's more attractive, but long term, Robinhood is a better fintech than SoFi.
So most analysts do 12-month price targets anyway. So that's at least what I'm assuming he's talking about is for the next 12 months. How will they actually perform?
I think SoFi is an easier double than Robinhood in the next year.
I actually am a big fan of Dan Dolev. I like a lot of the things that he says. However, I find that he's just so overly optimistic about Affirm, and I couldn't care less about that company.
A lot of these people say that they do a lot of work on it. I don't really know what that means. I mean, we cover every angle from it.
They just read your articles, dude.
And I don't know
basically
if they're looking at the banking side, the AWS of fintech, if they're just focused on student loans, gap profitability in Q4. I mean, there's so many angles that you need one of these analysts to come on and do a 15, 20, 25 minute talk somewhere, because talking about SoFi for a minute on CNBC or Bloomberg, you can't get enough from it. Doesn't do it justice.
You ever want to know how BS some of these segments on CNBC or Yahoo Finance or any mainstream finance media, just go back into YouTube and look at how they were talking about certain stocks last year, 2 years, 3 years ago. What you'll find more often than not is stuff that goes up, they get more and more and more and more bullish on the way up. And if it goes down, they get more and more and more bearish on the way down. It's just the complete opposite of what you would expect. There's been a lot of people on CNBC where they were like super bullish on companies like Roku or Coinbase when they're at 300, 400, whatever. They're super bearish now when it's at like $60, even though the underlying company has been growing in SoFi's case and in a lot of the cases. It is more, in my mind, entertainment than it is educational, because they want the clickbaits, they want the views, they want the shares, they want the retweets, and they want the sort of hot takes. And that's not really conducive with a long-term mindset. They lose credibility. I mean, Josh Brown, for one, pretty much everybody on CNBC to some extent, because they just have takes that are not based on any company fundamentals, that are not based on any company execution. And they have access to these executives, and the executives come on, talk about the underlying catalysts for their company. Meanwhile, like even Dan Dolev, who is bullish on SoFi, his main thing is like, well, student loan refinancing. It's like, yeah, well, we know that, but look at all of the other diversity of product lines and the diversity of execution across those product lines for the entire time that student loans was inactive. When he says, oh, I've done a lot of digging, and then comes out and says, well, student loan is a huge market. Well, it's like, well, yeah, we knew that. What is the thing that you know that other people reading the one pager wouldn't know?
I don't think we give him enough credit. I don't think he's showing all of his cards. Whenever I think Mizuho is doing deep dives, I'm sure they have multi-page thesis, probably 20 plus pages long, and they're trying to give something on a 5-minute segment that they have on a show. It's hard to summarize, right? Like they went through 10-minute segment or whatever, like 20 of his positions. It gives no room to give any sort of credibility at all. They were talking about Upstart, and Upstart's such a complex business. The guy said, well, that's an SEO business, right? And then he said, no, it's actually AI. And then they moved on. And that was the segment for Upstart. And I was like, okay, well, that's summed up. You know?
Oh, the one person that is actually super bullish is Cramer.
He's good friends with Noto, though, right? He's been sort of
Yeah.
bullish on SoFi for a while.
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
been
he
tight for a
called
while.
Noto on air asking him why he wasn't coming on Squawk and why he was going on Tech Chat. He threw a fit. I wish I could find the clip. He threw an absolute fit at what was going on with the share price after earnings.
Well, I mean, Noto came on when the $3 price target or the $2.50 price target came out back in May, the next Monday or Tuesday. Noto did 2 appearances. One was on CNBC with Cramer. They were sitting outside, and he basically broke down that entire bear case. And then the second one was like a fireside chat at some investor conference, and he broke it down again. To me, what that signaled is that like he always has Cramer as a platform in his back pocket. If anything comes out that's like overly bearish or whatnot, and if he doesn't address it on Twitter, then he can always jump onto a 1-hour thing with Cramer and clear it out.
Too many people give Cramer a hard time. The guy has the most interviews with CEOs and the best interviews with CEOs from any of these people on Bloomberg or CNBC.
I just think that he's been in the game for like way too long. He's like, one of those people that might have once been at the top, but then it's like 20 years go by and you're just sort of, I don't want to say washed up because it sounds so bad, but like washed up. Steven, I think your comment is interesting to say like, you got to give Cramer credit because he gets good interviews out of these people. I think that's saying more out of the lack of the other CNBC talking heads than it is praise to Cramer. Granted, there's...
Bro, if you gave me mad money, I would have the best interviews on the planet with CEOs. Because Cramer just has his show. That's the only reason he gets the interviews. It's not because Cramer is Cramer. Okay, so if you guys had to rank your top 3 fintechs right now, okay, I'll pull it up.
Mine might not be on this list. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Nubank.
Yeah, it would be SoFi, Nubank, PayPal right now.
In that order? 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
Okay, Steve?
Very difficult. Long term is SoFi, PayPal. I don't really have another one that I follow, so I'll just do top 2. In the short term, I think PayPal has a tremendous amount of upward potential, so I would say leave it at that. The long term, SoFi is out of all these my top.
Yeah, obviously SoFi, and then PayPal is the one that I know most out of them. And then probably third, honestly, I'm bullish on Bitcoin, so probably Coinbase. If not Coinbase, then probably like Visa.
Those were Dan Dolev's 2 lowest.
Yeah. Just goes to show how much he knows, I guess.
Or maybe it shows you're not that smart.
Maybe I'm just a Neanderthal. So
I would go SoFi Hood MasterCard.
There was some fun news. New SoFi job openings
for insurance.
Director of Insurance. For SoFi Protect, they're looking for a Director of Insurance to help build out the next scaled business line within SoFi. Potentially managing an insurance agency or holding insurance licenses is a plus. They even say here they want to develop a roadmap for new partners and offering to scale SoFi Protect overall. Yeah, they're looking for someone to help build out their life and P&C, property and casualty.
What they're probably going to do is offer a complete suite of packages with annuities, life insurance, and all those types of lines to really create a 360 degree. It's very smart. And I hope they do it because it is just another sticky asset to their ecosystem.
Look, I think the underlying question, if we just go beneath surface level, is how are they going to build it out? Is it something where they're going to try small pilot programs and try to build it out in house, or are they just going to try to have some type of M&A strategy? Maybe that comes to fruition in the end of 2024, or maybe it's a company that they're eyeing up, something small, like they did with Wyndham Capital, right? Under 100 million for that purchase. This posting to me just signals that they're looking at insurance right now as their next profit center, as their next lever. How are they going to do it? And what are they going to start with?
You know how big annuities are. Whether you agree with annuities as part of your retirement structure or not, there is a large market for it. Being in that business does boost a wealth management product and an asset management arm. It's a very good strategic move if they have that as part of their overall offerings. A lot of people like that safety from annuitizing assets.
How great can SoFi's execution be to be delivering on the expansion of Latin America, getting into small to medium-sized business banking, expanding into the insurance game, all while growing all their existing product lines? I'm going to have to probably call their bluff. I don't think that goes off with extreme growth rates in all categories. That seems like next to an impossibility.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing that I'm sort of concerned about is yes to all those things. It's not an if, it's a when. Risk is always spreading yourself too thin too soon. And if you do all of them at the same time, you're going to do a shit job at all of them, basically. The idea is once they get solid footing on SoFi Bank, then they can move on to improvements onto SoFi Invest or SoFi Money. Once they get solid footing onto that, they can do mortgages with Wyndham. And then once they really nail that down, so it's sustainable growth that's predictable over time and it doesn't fluctuate wildly, it's not really volatile, then they can go on to the next thing. Yes, we see a posting for director, but in my experience, director roles usually take months to fill out. You want good people for that role. You don't want just an average Joe off the street. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get that role filled until the end of the year. And really, this is just forward planning for 2024. We probably won't see anything material changing until I would say like halfway through the year 2024, just because it takes time to build a strategy that's sustainable for a multi-billion-dollar company and to actually have something with contingencies in place as to how you're going to capture market share.
This could be on the roadmap, but it may not be for several quarters or even a year or two. Just that it's in the pipeline is interesting just to see where their head's at, because you're not allocating resources toward this or even looking to hire qualified people that are licensed to do this if you're not envisioning building out some type of wealth management product. There's no way that they're going to get into corporate insurance. That's just not what they do. I don't see that happening. If they're not doing a wealth management arm and assets under management, it just doesn't make sense. Especially think about if they do business banking and they get into payroll, they're going to want to be able to offer life with that also. Like it makes sense.
I do agree, like the idea that this is all a year away. Like I also think Latin America will probably be a year from now. Small business, like I don't think this is going to happen in 2023 or even early 2024. But like even Tevis brought up, like they're also just expanding home loans right now quite drastically. Right? Student loans are about to come online. The tech platform's expanding. Everything is sort of going off all at once. And then to be like, well, why don't we start prepping the insurance market as well? The execution seems immaculate if it happens correctly.
And so they would be trying to sell people life insurance.
I'm going to assume they're going to play the broker role. I don't think that they will want to be the carrier. I think the broker role is a much better move because you're going to make all the money and hold none of the risk.
They already refer it out right now. The next step from that is bringing it in-house.
They're going to look probably to compound everything. And it's not just on payroll or anything like that with health and life. They're going to look to keep you in that system. I think it's first come online in property, and then you'll probably see health and annuity. I don't know that they go past those three.
Even without a home loan partner, we were still offering home loans, mortgages, stuff like this at a much, much slower rate. This doesn't necessarily have to be an all new product, just a ramp up in the product. SoFi Protect makes up a very small percentage of their overall income. And I don't know if you can necessarily call yourself a broker if you only broker out to one individual client. So if you're only using Ladder, Gabby, lemonade for all different products. It's like, I wouldn't necessarily even call that a broker.
Tannor, I mean, you're in the space. What's the most profitable type of insurance that they could start with?
Life insurance pays, as far as I know, the highest premiums, higher
So-
than commercial, higher than P&C, higher than auto, all of them.
The point of life insurance, right, is that when you die, you want to leave something for your family, right?
Yep.
Okay, so basically, if I buy life insurance right now and I have a wife and kids and I die, based on the type of policy I got, they will give money to my wife and kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't off yourself and they can prove it.
And to be honest,
Yeah, 'cause
that's like even a big misconception too. Most insurance carriers will pay due to self-harm almost always.
Why do people buy life insurance?
So then you don't leave expenses to people that you love.
But
Big
it's not
breadwinner in
your
the
problem
family.
anymore. You're dead.
Yeah. Those
So
are the
why
clients you
are-
can't sell.
Steve,
the
do you have
people
life
that-
insurance?
I mean, I have it through my company. I don't pay for it on my own.
Okay, let's say you didn't have your job. Would you actively go and try to buy life insurance?
I think it depends.
No,
I
you had
think
to think. You had to think because you were like,
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
care. No. Let me explain.
You don't even let me talk. You
In
asked
a
me
second, you were
question.
like, if I
It de-
die, why do I care about what my wife
It
has to deal with,
depends
right?
on
Because
everybody's situation is different. It really depends on what your financial situation is and what your life situation is. Me
yeah, but why do you care?
personally,
I mean, if you
No.
die, everyone else has to
Why?
deal with. Everyone has to be a big boy here, right? Like, you know.
look, if you have a wife and two little kids, or if you're a female and you have a husband and two little kids, there's a good reason. I don't have kids. So, everybody's situation is different. And
I mean,
Amit,
those kids got to
it's a
get a
really
job.
hard
They got to
question.
start
Amit,
working.
just look at the comments. If you want to baseline why people do it, because there are people with kids, with families, with stuff that it seems like a steal, where if it's like, $50 a month or whatever, and then you know that you don't have to worry about that, just even the stress of worrying about that makes it worth it for
I'm just saying
so many people.
those kids could get a job.
If you want to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole, what's exciting
Just
is
saying,
if you
like,
can-
I don't know why it's so complicated.
I think when you get older, you'll have a different view on it.
Bro, I don't think my parents have life insurance, bro. Indians, I don't think they give a fuck about life insurance. If they die, they die. Life insurance is supposed to be borrowed against.
it's not just death insurance, it's also it can be used as a utility during life, is that you can borrow against the product. Banks like to use it as collateral, knowing that if you're going to acquire property or something like this, if they can be the beneficiary of your life insurance policy, they're going to like you a lot more.
Sounds like a scam. I'm just saying, this life insurance thing.
It's not
It's-
because you're paying into it.
It is such a big industry. I had no idea how big it was. Trillions and trillions of dollars. And that's just the company that I work for. And there's so many.
Bro, maybe
Yeah.
I should become a life insurance agent. I could sell the shit out
Clean
of it.
up.
This is an easy sell. Like,
You'll
everyone's gonna
compete, you'll
die.
compete with real estate agents on a per transaction basis. Like, it's crazy.
Admit you want the key to success, go back, get a finance degree, pass your CPA exam, and then team up with somebody on insurance and just refer all your clients. You'll clean up, or just do both.
You can't be the new CNBC Mad Money anchor and sell life insurance on the side. It's not that kind
No,
of
why
gig.
not? We could do both. Why not?
Per Bender 9000, who's a resource on Reddit that breaks news on SoFi all the time, SoFi will be offering the Instacart IPO to members. Instacart is IPOing in the US, really popular company. That's huge, no? Like, this is not an oddity. This is
not huge. This is nothing burger.
Yeah, I think it's a nothing burger.
First of all, anyone who buys this IPO is a fucking idiot.
no,
So
have you read the financials? I would
Yes,
make that
sir.
statement before you read the financials.
first of all, no, buying an IPO is not a good thing, especially not in this economy. So look at all the
Fair.
people bag holding SoFi. Guess what you did? You bought the fucking IPO. Do not buy the Instacart IPO, even if it's 60% down from its 2021 valuation. Are you legitimately telling me you're going to buy Instacart's
No.
IPO?
No,
I'm
Okay,
not.
so then there is
not-
no counter argument. You're not doing it. So why would
No,
you
no,
tell
I'm
people
not
to buy it?
doing it, but it's a huge logo. It's like if Patreon or OnlyFans
it's
or
not, bro. Most
SpaceX
people
or
don't know what
Stripe
Instacart
all
is.
went public.
From
They're
a-
huge
most
logos.
Most people
Like,
do
Like,
not know what
attention.
Instacart is. You were wrong. about that.
Regardless, from a business standpoint, it's great that SoFi is offering it and other companies aren't. So it's just one more thing that they're offering their members. Whether you're going to invest in the company doesn't matter. The fact that they're offering it and other people aren't is great, because if any of these other companies like Stripe go public, good chance they'll be offered on SoFi to its members and there'll be an allocation.
I'm not saying
E-Trade
Instacart's
used to
not a
do.
good business. A lot of people use it. Buying the IPO, I think, is really stupid.
But it doesn't
It's
matter. That's
immaterial.
not your
That doesn't
decision to
matter.
make.
That's the opinion.
No, but that's my point. How many people on SoFi are actually going to use SoFi Invest to buy the IPO? How big?
It doesn't matter. The fact that it's there is a plus.
The idea being that if it's an exclusive, the same way that it's an exclusive to have 24/7 market access is that if you do want IPO access to some of those positions, that it's a great opportunity to have.
No, you know why it's not a good thing? Because you have a negative sentiment towards a product when that product makes you lose money. So if you bought the Nerd Wallet IPO because Robinhood offered it to you at $18 a share,
You're just picking bad IPOs.
okay, so this rests on the idea that you think it's a good IPO. I disagree. And the
No,
SoFi people that lose money on it will not have a good feeling towards SoFi. If it's social investing and getting your money right, why does Anthony Noto want people to get their money wrong by investing in a shitty IPO?
But you don't know
It's just
there's gonna be
exclusivity, man.
that. If you've read through the filing, what's their EBITDA, what's their free cash flow, and what's their net income?
I saw that their valuation was slashed by 60%, which is awesome. I think it's 13 billion versus like 40 billion from 2021. That's great. That doesn't mean the IPO is going to be
Okay. Are they, yeah, but you can't just tell me the valuation. What's their revenue? What's their gross profit? What's their margins? What's their net income? Backdoor into it.
I don't know, but I don't think that matters in the context of an IPO. Or at least
Of course,
an overhyped
It's going to be
IPO.
a publicly traded company. The fundamentals matter. Financials matter.
I mean, if you think in 5% interest rate environment, people are going to start using Instacart more and more and more versus just do their own groceries. I don't know.
Amit. Like, do you just say shit to just piss people off? Like,
Yes, he does. Because
No, I don't. No.
He
It
wants us
doesn't
to
matter if it's a
engage
shit.
Wait, hold on,
company.
Tevis. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you: is Instacart a value stock or a growth stock?
I don't care. Any IPO that's coming out has hype around it. Can we
You
agree
still
on
didn't
that?
answer my question. Is it a value stock or growth stock?
Growth stock, I
Okay,
believe.
so with 5.25% interest rates,
You're
you
missing
think it's going to be really easy for Instacart to just be like, we're just going to keep on growing? And you don't think there's any VCs from Y Combinator that want to dump their fucking shares on retail investors? The real world is that Airbnb, Uber, all this shit was because of Y Combinator. Instacart's just another one.
Okay, let me level set with you. Let me meet you in the middle. Let me say it might be, I don't know, it might drop 80%. Are you happy with that? 80% drop? The
I wouldn't be happy with that, but
great. Okay, great. It's going to drop 80% once that IPOs. There's going to be hype around it because there has been hype around big names. When Airbnb went public, why do you think they fucking drop 80%? It's because they're overbought in the first place. Is because people are like, oh my God, that's huge logo. I'm not going to invest in it. I'm just saying that by SoFi having exclusivity into a big IPO that's coming up, probably ARM and Instacart will be the biggest IPOs of the year. Probably. We haven't had many this year. Just by having exclusivity into that, SoFi will benefit. Like how overbought or how much it drops or how much it goes up on like IPO day is a direct indication of the macro. Like the sentiment.
fact that this is something that SoFi is going to have that Schwab may not, or E-Trade may not, or Morgan Stanley may not, is a positive. It's just one more option for SoFi Invest members. That's all that matters.
Yep.
It's optionality.
SoFi had once offered IPO access to a very small company. Maybe you guys haven't heard of it, called Rivian Automotive, at the $78 price target back in November of 2021. That stock then proceeded to run up to $120 per share. SoFi IPO access members got quite happy if they sold then, to then run all the way to $20. But still, there are very successful IPOs that at the time were not even like revenue producing companies. Growth stocks can have their time. To your counterpoint, potentially, is that November 2021 was a different time than now.
And people are going to lose money on SoFi Invest with exclusive access. I'm telling you, you guys think it's a troll argument? People will not like that their brokerage gave them an opportunity. Because I remember when Robinhood was like, invest in Nerd Wallet, and they were doing all this confetti. And then I looked, I was like, it's a fucking blog. You're offering me shares at $18 in November 2021 for a blog? I kind of lost respect for Robinhood. I was like, why would you advise me? Basically, right? It's basically a recommendation engine putting this in my face to invest in this stock. I don't think it's a good thing for SoFi to do this for average retail investors that are not smart enough to understand this is a pump and dump by Y Combinator.
I'm going to give you a real life
You still use the brokerage? You own
11
shares in that
years
company?
ago, 10 or 11 years ago, when Facebook IPO'd, we got an allocation from E-Trade. A lot of people had no idea what Facebook was going to do or how they were going to make money. And it ended up going down from, I think the allocation was at 31 or 32, and it ended up going down to 18 or 19. And then Facebook went to 380 or 390 over the next decade. So you never know what's going to happen.
Are you making a comparison between the largest social network on the planet and someone giving my groceries?
So, Amit, 10 years ago, Facebook was not the largest.
It had 1 billion
network
people.
on
Did
the
you watch
planet.
The Social Network? How are you comparing Facebook, that was going to be one of the biggest companies in the world, to groceries?
Trust me, nobody knew that. Nobody knew it was going to be big. When we still have our shares from when it first IPO'd. Like, nobody knew that.
To make this argument, you have to win that Instacart could be a revolutionary company, which is why this IPO is a good thing.
No, you don't. All you
no,
need
I'm
to
saying-
say
I'm saying
is
this-
that
comparing
there's a demand
Instacart
for the
to
product.
Facebook or Amazon.
I'm saying Instacart can have great gains, and you don't know what the market is going to hold, and you don't know what the management is going to hold, and there's zero history behind this company.
Tanner, you think a company that helps you deliver your groceries,
You think
Uber
a company
hold
that
on.
delivers your books to your door is going to be, you think they're going to offer you everything simultaneously, single day
No,
shipping?
Bro, if Uber Eats is doing as much or if not more revenue than fucking the entire Instacart company, I don't know what the number is, but you could argue Uber Eats is pretty big and part of Uber. And you look at Uber's market cap, then you look at Instacart. I mean, this is not, we don't have to be rocket scientists to be like, this is going to be a shitty IPO.
Let me just read you one comment that somebody watching made. SoFi investors are just given more options, which is good. It's not that they're recommending investing in it. People like options. And I think fundamentally that's the bottom line, period.
All that matters.
No, but that's incorrect. That's incorrect because
It's not incorrect.
let's go. Let's go Tevis's route. Let's say it's exclusive, right? Tevis, you gave me the 80% argument. I'm going to give you the exclusive argument.
Sure.
What is SoFi going to do? You open the app. What are they going to pop up in front of my face when I open up SoFi Invest? We have an exclusive IPO for you to invest in. The next generation technology of grocery delivery.
Let me put it to you this way.
Average retail investors like I was back in 2021 will be like, Instacart? That could be the next Facebook. And I'm going to buy that shit. I'm going to lose all my money and I'm going to say, fuck SoFi.
You don't know they're going to lose all their money.
If there are people, and I mean, it might be a far-fetched theory in your mind that there do exist people out there that will think that this is a good company and actually believe in it. Crazy, I know. But those people will likely want to have that exclusivity because like Tannor was saying, for an IPO, if it goes IPO at 60, people who have exclusive access can buy it like 60 to 70 to 80. And then the rest of the market buys it when it comes out to like 90 or 100. That's what happened with Unity. That's what happened with a bunch of other companies back in 2021. Airbnb,
so what's your point?
The point is that the people who are bullish and who are buying Instacart, regardless of where it goes, if it goes to 200, if it goes to $2, they will want to buy it first and they will have preferential treatment at SoFi and they'll have that option to buy.
And they will lose all their money when they buy it first.
Freaking matter because
wait, hold on. You guys are saying it doesn't matter for people to lose their money on a shitty IPO? How are you making this argument?
Because I'm going to tell you why. Because I can sign up to Caesars and lose all my money betting on the Yankees tomorrow. You can go to the casino.
Yeah, but the
lose all your
Yankees aren't
money.
doing $714 million in revenue in one quarter. Like they're probably doing a lot more than that, to be honest. My point is, you guys have to answer my fundamental point. The brand equity of SoFi pumping a retail investment heavy IPO and then people losing their money is not good.
After Instacart goes public, will there be people purchasing and will there be people selling the shares? Yes or no?
Of course, it's a market. Of course.
Okay. So if there are people purchasing and people selling shares, that means that there's a market for it, correct?
100%. Yes.
Okay. There is demand. That means people are free willing, putting their money into it and exiting a position.
There's also bags being waiting to be held, like you're
Doesn't
at fucking
matter.
TSA
That's
trying to get
everybody's
security
individual
check.
choice as an adult. The fact that there is a market for it and the fact that there is demand for it means that if SoFi has the IPO, that is something that they have that other people don't. And anybody who wants it can purchase the shares through SoFi. Now, whether you like it or I like it or nobody else likes it or they do like it, doesn't matter because it's everybody's personal choice. If I want to buy shares, and that's the road to do it, pre-going public, I would open up an account and buy it. The same way that if Stripe I thought was going to be a good investment, came out on a different platform, I would open an account to buy it there.
They're not saying we recommend you buy it. They're just saying it's an option.
Yeah, but when you put that option as a front page on your app, 6 million members, and I don't know, 10% of them, 600,000, like, oh, Instacart, SoFi. I only know about it because of SoFi.
Amit, did you buy Oddity?
Huh?
Did you buy Oddity? The other IPO that they were talking about back in June. Did you buy it?
In 2023?
Yeah, like 2 months ago.
Oddity.
SoFi offered an IPO for Oddity. Did you buy it?
I did not.
Do you know what the price is? Is it higher or lower than IPO price?
I have no idea.
Is it at zero?
If Instacart doesn't go to zero, but it goes from $16 to $2, you think that
you have the SoFi app and you don't even know what he's talking about.
There will be some percentage of the population that decides that this Instacart IPO makes sense because SoFi is putting it in front of them. They buy it and then they're bag holding because the VCs are going to dump their freaking shares on the market. I don't get how you guys don't get this. And then the shares will tank.
Hold on.
And that will leave a bad taste in SoFi.
Whether it was SoFi, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Schwab, Ameritrade.
Yeah, but retail investors aren't using Schwab and JP Morgan. They're using SoFi.
Bullshit.
Put Throwball's comment up there, please. Please, please. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Hold on.
Wait,
So,
but hold on,
that's
hold
an
on. What's
amazing
SoFi's
comment, because
mantra?
when I
What's SoFi's
tell him
mantra?
to get off Robinhood, he's like, but I like the confetti.
What's SoFi's mantra? Get your money right. Getting your money right is not gambling on YOLO IPOs.
They
Robinhood
give you
doesn't
the
give a
freedom
fuck.
to do what you want.
Robinhood's mantra is just keep trading so we get payment for order flow. SoFi is about getting your money. No, I'm honestly, you guys think I'm trolling for the content. I really don't think offering this as an IPO is a good idea because it's going to dump on the market and retail investors will hold the bag. This is Chamath 2.0. This is SoFi's version of being Chamath on the Instacart IPO.
All right, he's trolling. He's trolling.
They're a business. They make money on transactions, just like Robinhood. They're not your fucking mom. They're
Yeah,
not
but it's
your
a
financial
brand more than a
advisor.
business, Tevis. It's a brand.
Are you blaming Goldman Sachs for taking, I don't know, like who did Palantir direct listed? Who did
That's
you go
irrelevant
in, like, you're not blaming the banks that took them public.
How much shit did SoFi get because they sued the Biden administration over student loans? And we talked on this very podcast 7 months ago. We don't think this is the best thing for the brand. Even though Anthony Noto had a fiduciary duty to sue Biden, we all said, all of us in agreement, we're like, this is a bad look for the brand. Even Chris Hager said, I think this is a bad look for the brand. I don't get how you think that's a bad look for the brand, but dumping a Y Combinator venture capital backed company that's going to drop 30% on retail investors is not a bad look for the brand.
So we don't know
You
that
don't
it's
know
gonna drop,
that.
first off. And second off,
So who's buying Instacart?
Hold on.
Put it
How
in
is
the
it
chat.
good look
Who's
for the
buying
company
Instacart?
allowing people to invest in AMC or GameStop or any of these other companies?
We've been doing this show for 46 episodes, and this is by far the stupidest take you've had.
I don't think this is
entire
a stupid
time.
thing. All right, let's see what happens when Instacart dumps on retail, and then I don't think it's going to be the best. Josh says he's
Joshua
buying
Storm
Instacart.
says, I'm buying Instacart.
There you go.
Josh is trolling because he buys good companies. I know Josh.
You know, Josh, maybe you should reach out to Amit to be your financial advisor because he doesn't think it's.
I would tell you to not buy Instacart, and I think I would save you some fucking money not buying Instacart.
He'd be telling you, buy Palantir all the way down.
Look, I mean, Instacart, at the end of the day, no one in the chat said they're buying it realistically. None of you guys think it's a good business, but all of you are happy SoFi's offering it. And my
I
argument,
didn't read their
I don't
S1.
think anybody said it's not a good business.
it could be a great business. The point is the IPO will dump. That is
You
what
don't know
it's
I don't know
that.
that until it happens.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Did you read their S1?
No, I didn't read the rest one, but I know
Okay,
it's a
so you can't
VC-backed
make those
company, and the
comments unless you
VCs
do.
are getting rid of their shares they've held for 10 years, and they're getting liquidity. Someone's got to make them whole, and it's not going to be the big banks. It's going to be retail investors.
There's also probably a lockup period on that too. And like a lot of the people that are dumping on day one are people that are trading. And you know who's trading? The people who have exclusive access, who can buy it at one price and sell it literally 3 hours later at 2x the price.
Very true. You'd be part of the VCs.
Yeah.
Is that the show?
I got Palantir Wrigley. If you guys want to keep going, you can. If there's more stuff to talk about, if not,
Yeah, let's keep going.